6 days to finish Week 12. Steelers, Ravens on a Wednesday afternoon that extended into a Wednesday evening. Steelers emerged victorious 19-14. We're going to break that all down and commence the process of getting you ready for Week 13. No game tonight because Ravens-Cowboys was moved to Tuesday as part of the extensive reshuffling. But the show is PFT Live. We have not been moved yet. Still 7 a.m. Eastern here on Peacock, Sirius XM 211. Re-air 9 a.m. Eastern on NBCSN. Hello to our friends in the UK and Ireland who get to see the program in prime time on Sky Sports NFL and our podcast audience everywhere. Good morning, Christopher. Friday for you.
Oh, yeah.
Thursday for the rest of us.
That's right. Eat it, the rest of us. It's my Friday. It's your Thursday. Eat it. That's all right. They get me back on Sunday, so that's where my kids and my family are always like, oh, you're so lucky it's your Friday night, and then Saturday night, I'm like, well, it's my Sunday night now, and they're having a good time, so it all evens out.
Oh, you work on Sundays too?
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
I'm not complaining.
Yeah.
I'm not complaining. Yeah. I'm just saying.
That's good.
All right.
All right.
What do you want to talk about? Want to talk about football?
Well, let's talk about football. There was a game yesterday, and this is why I would never bet, ever,
yeah, right.
ever. Yesterday, Chris and I both picked the Steelers to win. He picked the Ravens to cover what had become a 10-point spread. I picked the Steelers to cover the 10, and it looked like that was going to happen. And my wife and I were eating dinner, and I was watching the game on my phone discreetly. Well, she knew. This is the best thing about having this for a job. You get to watch football and say, I have to.
You have
it's
to.
Not
it's
like
my
I
job.
want to. I have to. But I'd like walk away to get a little more pasta, and I come back and 19-7 is all of a sudden 19-14.
Hollywood.
I swore. And she's like, what's wrong with you? I was like, well, how much time do you have to get into it? But that's kind of what happens when you're trying to wish away the final few minutes of a game. A 70-yard touchdown can happen like that, and there goes your day. Look, the Steelers, I think, fully expected to destroy the Ravens. And They did then have to sweat it out. I mean, James Washington makes a hell of a catch to keep the drive alive and kill the game. And it's like, he did what kind of a thing? Like, this is, and it shouldn't have come down to that. And I think, Chris, that's one of the reasons why we heard some disbelief and some saltiness from Mike Tomlin.
I love it.
Ben Roethlisberger.
Right.
Juju Smith-Schuster. And Tomlin's 4-minute press conference, we have a link to it at the story on PFT. It's scary.
It's awesome.
He's mad.
Yeah.
The coach of an 11-0 team acting like he's 0-11. How about listening to some of what Mike Tomlin had to say when he sounded off? Here it is.
We couldn't run the ball effectively when we needed to. We dropped too many significant passes, very catchable, makeable passes. We didn't make significant plays in the special teams game. Our kickoff coverage unit wasn't good enough. We turned the damn ball over. We gave up big plays in critical moments on defense. Can't have it. They converted a long run on a possession down before the half. Unacceptable. They had a 70-yard touchdown late in the game. Unacceptable. And so we're fortunate tonight. It's good to proceed with the victory. I acknowledge that. But not a lot happened tonight to be proud of or to be excited about other than that.
You had some red zone failures and a number of drop passes. What do you attribute that to? Anything in particular?
Us sucking.
Yeah,
that's my favorite
simple.
part.
And the full 4 minutes went on just like that. The can't have it reminded me of the Mike Singletary epic press conference from all those years ago.
Right.
But look, this is why Tomlin is one of the best coaches. He's going to find nothing positive in what happened last night because they should have won that game easily. And there were so many opportunities in the first half to blow it open. And guys were just dropping passes. It's like, what's wrong with you guys? Catch the football, score the touchdown. Let's go. Let's deliver the knockout blow so we can maybe pull some of these guys off the field because we got to play on Monday night against Washington. The Steelers have one fewer day than the Ravens to get ready for the next game. Let's save some of these guys and start refocusing on the next contest to try to get to 12-0. It should have been that kind of a night. not a 5-point victory, Chris.
Well, no, but this is like we've seen this part of the Pittsburgh Steelers. It's been a few weeks, right? But we saw this type of performance against the Dallas Cowboys with like Garrett Gilbert at quarterback, and you just go, what? There's no way. They'll steamroll them. But they were kind of asleep at the wheel that day too. Obviously, they thought they were going to go in there and kind of just take care of business, blah, blah, blah. I mean, the drop passes, the 3rd and 13 run up the middle, everything like that. Yeah, it was not their best game. And the Ravens came, of course, as we know, desperate. You could tell the way their DBs were playing and tackling people and just their defense in general, that there was definitely more of an urgency on their side of the ball, where Pittsburgh, I think, just kept going, we'll wear them down. It'll happen eventually. Oh, wait. Oh, we're still in a game here? And I mean, in a game is an understatement. Like you said, there was moments where, yeah, you can go, they could have controlled the football game. And then they were this damn close to going, whoa, you're going to be down, 14-12 at halftime. I mean, if the Ravens don't kind of mess up the end of the first half clock management and that whole debacle there too. So it was a underwhelming performance, and it's a great teaching moment for Mike Tomlin. I mean, that's where it's going to be awesome, because they won and they kind of played like crap, and he knows that, and he can really lay on them here the next few days a little bit and kind of like wake up the organization again and get out on everybody's butt once again to go like, let's go. We're a Super Bowl team. We're not like, oh, we're just going to squeak by the JV team, and that's the lesson they're going to probably hear a lot this week.
That really was a strange sequence that could have put the Ravens up at the end of the half. 2nd and goal from the 1. They run the ball up the middle with Gus Edwards, who had 9 carries for 10 yards on the night. That is not a good average. He did score a touchdown, but not on that play. He was stopped, and then it was tick, tick, tick all the way down to 3 seconds left. They snapped the ball. Luke Wilson had the ball in his hands.
Did.
I mean, it should have been 14-12 at the half, but they should have had another crack at it. At a minimum, they should have had a 4th down opportunity to kick a field goal and make it 12-10 or go for it again. There should have been at least one more snap there. And that's that's the product of your backup quarterback playing.
Sure.
Because I think your starter has the presence of mind to make a better decision there and spike the ball. Or what do you do?
Who knows?
You just got to move faster.
Well,
you got to move
yeah.
faster. You just have to move faster. There was enough time to line up and get the ball snapped. When you snap one play at 26 and the next play at 3, there's time in between there to get another play off and then still have time left on the clock if you move quickly enough.
Yeah,
period.
I mean, there's a lot of different ways they could have attacked that, right? I mean, first off, let's just hit this just before we break down the timeout. How about the laying on the pile part of that? Little sequence there by the Pittsburgh Steelers. Did you find that egregious? Did you think the ref should have stopped the clock there to at least let the pile clear? I thought so, just a little bit. That would have saved them a few seconds. I thought that the Ravens kind of got screwed there. Just what was your thought there?
Well, I was on the air at the time, so I didn't see that specific exchange.
Okay, fine.
So
all right, sorry. Way to keep it real. That's why I love you, man. Yeah.
That's the truth. We were on the air, and you told me not to watch the game while I was on the air, so I was trying my damnedest not to watch the game. I saw the Luke Wilson play,
right?
But because Shireen was talking at that time, but I didn't see the players laying on. But
that's
you're
not going to
be paying
attention
need to intervene,
to that. Right?
Kill the clock,
right?
You can throw a delay a game penalty in that situation. It's easy to do. It's not just a matter of saying we're going to stop the clock. And not that the yardage would have made a difference, but it does stop the clock and give the Ravens an opportunity.
Yeah, I mean, even like how Terry McCauley brought it up. By the letter of the law, I think he thought it should have been a delay of the game. They could have certainly called it that way. Either way, to your point and what you just said there, yeah, I think at very least it should have been, hey, we're going to stop the clock for a second, let the mosh pit clear out here, spot the ball, start it up again, and then maybe the Ravens aren't so hectic in what to do, what not to do. But either way, they went into the situation obviously not with the right game plan or the approach. To me, where it was messed up, they had a 3rd and 9, all right, Mike? And Hill runs around the right tackle for 19 yards to get the first down. Okay, so now there's plenty of time left. They're taking their time before they have their 1st and goal run from the 4-yard line. That, to me, is where you take your time and you say, hey, RG3, take your time here. We're going to call a run play. But If we don't get in, I want you to get right to this pass play right here, blah, 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 right? Or you say, I want to run a quick run play, and then you formulate a game plan in that moment is what I'm saying. And that's where I believe they messed up. They ran a run play, got down to the 1-yard line, right? And now it's, oh, wait, what are we going to do here? How do we want to approach this? There seemed to be miscommunication and not knowing what they want to do, and they just called the timeout with 26 seconds left. And, yeah, that put them in a tough spot, especially when you're going to run the ball, the play after that. And now, whoa, it's a mosh pit of people, and 26 seconds is just not that much time in that kind of scenario there. And it took a while, and obviously that was a debacle, and they lost an opportunity.
And when you have a team like that has an offense that just feels like it was slapped together on the fly, you can't afford to squander those opportunities. I think it's one of the reasons why the defense was playing so well.
Yeah.
My guess is John Harbaugh grabbed each of those guys before the game and said, if we have any chance of winning this game,
right,
we need you to step up and give us the best effort you've ever given us in your entire career.
Right.
And it helped. I don't know whether it was guys bracing for impact or trying to run the ball before they had it in their hands, but the drops were unacceptable, and I can understand why Mike Tomlin was as upset as he was. Ben Roethlisberger had a season-high 51 passes, but they can't get the running game going. Benny Snell did have 60 yards, which probably better than what you would have thought given the extent to which they threw the ball. But this win ugly. They got 5 left now, and they've got the Bills, they've got the Colts, they have the Browns again. If they're 15-0 going into that Browns game, they're going to see the absolute best effort that they've ever seen from the Cleveland Browns. It's going to be a lot like the Patriots-Giants game from Week 17 of 2007, where you want to do everything you can to be the team that keeps someone from going undefeated, and especially if it's someone from your own division. So they're going to have some time. Washington's not going to be easy. Washington's
no, it will not.
In division contention. The only easy one on there is at Bengals. So, I think every game's going to be close. It's not going to matter. And, the Steelers keep trying to pull a rabbit out of their hat week in and week out for most of these games. The only teams they have blown out convincingly were the Browns and the Bengals. The rest of the games could have gone either way.
Yeah, well, that's right. I mean, last night, first off, the Ravens match up really well with the Pittsburgh Steelers. The way they run the ball, Pittsburgh likes to create all this chaos with their front seven. So Baltimore with the pulling guards like Chris Collinsworth pointed out and all that stuff, it's not the greatest combination there. And then, hey, when your team can't run the football and it's predicated on pass, and then instead of running the football, we throw short passes, right? And we just keep it short. That's kind of our de facto run game. When you play a team like Baltimore, who's got an all-star secondary, it's going to be tough sledding. That'd be one team for Pittsburgh where I know they're 2-0 against them this year, but I'd go, man, I hope they don't make the playoffs. I don't want to see them. I don't. It's not a great matchup for them. And Pittsburgh, yeah, they're going to have to live this style or live this life a little bit because of their inability to really be a balanced football team or run a clock out when they are up. I mean, we saw this happen to them early in the year. But either way, I think the positives are still, Big Ben, for the most part, the way he's taking care of the football, managing the football game, it's very impressive. He understands what his team is, and he puts them in good positions. It certainly wasn't his fault, like you said, with the drops and all that. But it's going to be interesting to see down the stretch when they play a team who, again, is at full health, everything is going, like maybe the Buffalo Bills, who their defense is getting going, and I would have a hard time thinking Sean McDermott's going to let them in the short passing game go off on all them. That'll be a tough struggle, and that's going to be the type of team that can give them problems.
Well, and they're going to need to have James Conner back for that game. He was on the COVID-19 reserve list, and we wish him the best because he's got the cancer history as well. So it's a heightened concern of potential complications of COVID-19. But we hope the best for him, and the Steelers hope to have him back because the Bills struggle against the run. You want to have your best running backs available for that game, and that game is coming up in
9 days.
A week and a half.
Yeah.
I mean, the Steelers have the Washington football team Monday night, and then they turn it around with that trip to Buffalo for Sunday Night Football. And that looms to me as the biggest challenge. In fact, I said after I picked the Steelers to lose to the Bengals and Joe Burrow, and the Steelers blew them out, that I would never pick against the Steelers ever again. So I can't break from that by next week. But that sure feels like the most vulnerable spot to me, especially given the way they played last night, Chris.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. And Buffalo, just, they're one of those teams, Mike, where I think if you asked me 5 weeks ago, I would have gone playoff team, maybe win one playoff game. I don't know if they can make a serious run. But they've gotten healthy on defense. McDermott's got his creative bug going again, and the mad scientist, and I don't know what the hell defense and coverage this is, but everybody's covered going, right? They got that. They've really improved the last few weeks. I mean, they played good defense against the top 5 offense of the Chargers. We saw what they did to Russell Wilson and company. Kyler Murray and company didn't have an easy time moving the ball on them either, to where I start to go, hey, I know Pittsburgh, Kansas City, and Tennessee are maybe in a little class of their own in the AFC, and I thought there was separation between the next group there, but I think Buffalo is right on the edge there, like looking on the outside, looking in, and I'm with you. I think that'll be an interesting matchup and fun to watch on Sunday night next week.
Bills have 2 Monday night games coming up. They have the 49ers in Arizona on this Monday night, then the next primetime game Sunday night. This is an opportunity for the Bills to really show the football-watching world what they have, and they're going to be fired up, and they're going to be ready to knock off the Steelers when they get the opportunity coming up here in just about a week and a half. RG3.
Yeah.
Let's hear from RG3 after the game, because he, of all the Ravens who spoke, and it's different than a normal year where reporters can swarm the locker room and get quotes, but RG3 seemed to be, of the people who spoke, the most upset by the way the delay was handled and the way that the outbreak in Baltimore was addressed. Here he is from after the game.
The walkthroughs weren't like a normal practice by any stretch of the imagination. It's probably unlike anything we've ever done in our career, probably from little league to high school to college, and definitely in the pros. The way the game went, obviously we wanted to win. We wanted to win the game. But the way the game was going was, a direct reflection of how we felt about the game. We felt like we had a chance to come in here and win, shock the world, and do something special. And we didn't do that. And, I put that on myself because I felt like I let the team down. I don't think we're supposed to really comment on injuries, but I pulled my hamstring in the second quarter. And I felt like if I hadn't done that, we would have won this game.
I mean, it was obvious he pulled a hamstring or had some sort
of
a leg injury, because he pulled up and kept going. Ultimately, Trace McSorley came in the fourth quarter. But, the issue of the walkthroughs, they had practice Monday and Tuesday, but I think they had socially distanced practice. Like, it's not a real practice. It really doesn't get you ready. It's kind of quasi-mental reps is what you're getting if you're the Ravens in those 2 practices, and it's just not enough for RG3 to be ready to go against a team like the Steelers. But, he had a 40-yard run. He ended up with 68 yards rushing, and maybe if he doesn't pull the hamstring, there's a path there to the end zone.
Yeah. It was getting interesting. I mean, with the way we saw that, hey, he can still run the football, right? I mean, that was like a question going in. How effective can he be? I know we talked about that yesterday, and I thought he'd be effective enough to scare Pittsburgh. Hey, his speed was better than I even gave it credit for, as we saw in some of those long runs. And, I don't know if Nicole in the back room, if you could bring those pictures up again, he's going to score a touchdown if he doesn't pull his hamstring on that play like you're talking about. There's a pass. So right there in that picture, you could tell he's grimacing because his hamstring just pulled. But look at this. Here he is. He's got the edge. 84 is going to go up to the free safety, Minkah Fitzpatrick, there at the 18 or 19-yard line on the hash. And it's going to be whether that guy down the field that Miles Boykin's blocking can get off the block. I mean, it's going to be really close. I'll just say that. And it certainly hurt their chances of winning the football game in a big way, because they were going to need his legs to be that threat to help them win. Their drop-back pass game, we know it's below average. And then he hasn't played football in a while. So when you saw him do that, you went, man, like this was kind of fun to watch. I mean, Baltimore was a real pain in the butt for Pittsburgh here. And once I saw him pull his hammy there like that, I just didn't, you kind of thought, I don't know if he can hang in there, and I don't know if their offense can move the ball enough without that run threat.
Another thing he said after the game that we really haven't focused on because the attention has been devoted to who else is positive on the team, how many more positives today, can they somehow find a way to practice, can they find a way to play. He pointed out, look, family members of the players and coaches are catching it too. It's a serious situation for the Ravens organization. It's been a huge distraction for them. They've had a full-blown outbreak. They think it's under control now, but who knows? And
yeah,
the reality is this: to the extent that there was any glossing over of the tail end of the outbreak, and Geno Jones, the safety who ended up not being able to play because he tested positive Tuesday, he was around the team on Tuesday, so we're still kind of in that tick of incubation period where there could still be some issues on the back end.
Right.
Yeah, because they were together to travel on Tuesday. They were together in the locker room. You know, that playing the game itself, the NFL has gotten it right so far that when you're out there on the field in an open-air stadium or in a dome, when you're playing, the chances of transmitting to an opponent are less than anyone thought because you're not around someone long enough to transmit the virus. But to get to the point where you're playing, you've got to be on the plane, in the bus, in the locker room, on the sideline. There's so many other ways to get it. Yeah, hey, playing the game, hey, we're not going to have transmission. But you don't just get dropped out of the sky onto the field. There's all these other ways that you're around other people, and it's the locker room that I think, especially the visiting team locker room in so many of these stadiums. We talked about that before in Kansas City. It's small. You got everybody jammed in there. You can't socially distance. You can't do it the right way. That's been one of the problems here, and that's contributed to the spread of the virus among teams.
Yeah, I mean, there's no doubt. You can't avoid it's hard to totally, like, in totality avoid when you got a 62 guys or however many guys are on the damn roster right now, in locker rooms, showers, everything like that. And some facilities, some areas, it's just going to be hard to have them, like, always socially distanced and not next to each other in those type of scenarios. So hopefully Baltimore has this under control. I mean, wow, what a rough week. Wow. As a player, it's amazing what they're going through. I'm surprised we didn't see more pulled hamstrings last night because you're not really, athletes are like, sports cars. They got to get out and move every now and then. You got to get the gas through all the cylinders and pistons and get everything going. If you just haven't been sitting in the garage and all of a sudden you punch it and put it in the sixth gear, these are the type of people that pull hamstrings, and that's the balance that I worry about for these players too. Just, okay, you're away from the facility, being in shape, running on your own, whatever. That's a big part of this year, just to make sure you're ready to go when you do got to play with less preparation.
And on top of the physical aspect of it, when you spend a week of, are we going to play, are we not going to play, are we comfortable playing, are we not comfortable playing, we don't want to play Tuesday, we won't play at all. We'll not. I mean, when you've got that bouncing around in your head, it becomes a distraction. It becomes the best thing I can compare it to, Chris. When I was practicing law and a trial was coming up, I didn't want to know about any possibility to settle the case. Once you start getting that into your head, you're like, well, are we going to have a case or are we not going to have a case? Are we going to settle the case or are we not? What am I doing today? Am I going to settle it on the steps to the court? Like, I want to know. This is it. This is when the game starts. Once you know that, you have a clarity where you can focus. When did they ever really get their clarity that this thing was definitely happening? It wasn't until Tuesday night. Technically, it wasn't until Wednesday at 12:30 p.m. local time that the what's the flag? Is it green? The green flag is to
green
go.
Means go.
Right? Checkered flag is the end. Yes. Well, I'm talking about the flags they wave at the start of a race. You get the green flag at 3 hours before kickoff.
Yeah.
Even until then, you're not sure. They did all those point-of-care tests yesterday. If there had been positives, who the hell know what would have happened? So I got a lot of respect for the Ravens, making it as interesting as they made it. and I can understand why Mike Tomlin's upset. But Mike, you're 11-0.
Yeah.
So don't be mad. Be happy.
Well,
because you still have a chance to go undefeated.
Right.
Only the second team ever to go 16-0.
Yeah, and you're right. There's still everything they want still in front of them. And, hey, all the things you just mentioned, too, I think that's like you could have easily said, I think that's why the Pittsburgh Steelers were asleep at the wheel last night, or yesterday afternoon, whatever the hell that game was. But, imagine. I just thought about, first off, Big Ben, because I thought his interview with Michelle Tafoya after the game was very funny. You could tell he was annoyed by the week. And then he made a comment about getting ready for Washington. He's like, yeah, what are we doing? Are we playing a doubleheader? Are we getting ready to play right now? Like, you could tell. And all I can do is, let you know what it is like as a quarterback. Most of us are type A personalities. We love routine. This is the way our day's going to go, and it's mapped out like perfectly. I mean, playing quarterback in a week like last week, I'm sure there's days where Big Ben, oh, man, what the hell? What the F are we going to do? Are we playing? Are we not playing? What do I do? How do I practice today? Do I watch film? I mean, it just throws you out of your routine all the way. It's mentally exhausting, too. And that led to them probably not playing as their best football. And then, Mike, I got to bring this up because I know we're getting to the end of our segment maybe here. You said them asleep at the wheel cost them the ability to get off the field, rest, get ready for Washington on a short week. It also cost them maybe Bud Dupree. I mean, Bud Dupree got hurt last night, and all reports are indicating they think it's an ACL. Man, that's a huge blow. He is such an awesome defensive player. That is the best pass rushing duo in football, and now it's been split in half, and that stinks, and I feel for him because, of course, he's a franchise tag guy too, and that'll hurt his chances of getting big money in a contract.
Yeah, and this is the worst time of year to have that injury if you're going to be a free agent in March because what are you going to – who's going to offer you significant money when you are just a few months into rehab from a torn ACL? And, anytime that the reports pre-MRI are that clear that there's a belief there's a torn ACL, that means that they grab the knee and they start, and oh boy, there's nothing,
there's nothing grabbing it, right?
The ligament that holds this thing together isn't intact. We can tell. Let's go ahead and do the MRI so we see the full extent of the damage. But yeah, and it's unfortunate, and it's why guys like Le'Veon Bell sat out a full year, right? You have to choose between taking a significant salary versus waiting for the generational payday that comes from a long-term contract where the team assumes the risk of that ACL tear and you still get paid the guaranteed money. That's what Bud Dupree didn't get, and that's what he's not going to get in 2021. His best hope is going to be a short-term deal, get back to the market, and get the payday then once you prove that the knee is fine. And, for every Adrian Peterson who comes back from an ACL tear good as new, you get a guy that maybe isn't the same. Right. So you're not going to have a team make that huge financial investment that Bud Dupree was clearly on track for given the kind of year he was having. So it's an unfortunate aspect of the business, but this is why we support guys like Dak Prescott who refuse to accept what's on the table.
That's right.
Because they want what they want. They're using the system to their advantage because the teams will use the system to their advantage as well. The Steelers, using that franchise tag, kept Bud Dupree off the open market and kept him from getting the payday he had earned, and now this injury is going to keep him from getting the next payday that he would have earned, and we wish him the best as well. But you're right. If you blow them out, he's not on the field in what would be garbage time.
Right.
He's resting, and he's getting ready for Monday night against Washington.
Yeah, I know. That's the shame of it. It really is. And, I always hate when it's a team that you have in that, Super Bowl bubble, Super Bowl convo. You want to see them at their best throughout the year. And now, their defense will not be at its best. This special defense that's a Super Bowl caliber, can win games by itself almost type of defense. This is going to make things, a little harder. They're still awesome. There's still a lot of good players. But, man, he makes a lot of plays on the stat sheet. And, of course, a lot of the F the play up type of plays that are not on the stat sheet. And that's where it stinks. And, the damn franchise tag, man. I don't know what to say. I wish they'd do something about it. I don't know what they can do.
They won't.
I know.
It's never going away.
I wish they could have a clause in the contract. Like, if you have this type of injury, we got to give you a little extra money after the year's over or something, just to ease the pain of some of these players. But either way, it is what it is. I understand that. And it's a brutal sport. That's all I could say. It's brutal.
Yeah, all you can do as the player is carve off a chunk of that franchise salary and purchase insurance for yourself in the event that you have the kind of injury that keeps you from getting the payday you want on the open market. But look, I don't want to get into a whole insurance industry rant.
Yeah, let's not do that.
The reality is this.
They're not.
The reality is this.
Yeah.
Career-ending injury, you're much more likely to get your money than one of these loss of value policies, because the only commodity in the insurance business is money. They're going to take your money in. When the time comes to pay the money out, they're going to fight, they're going to scratch,
Right.
they're going to claw to say, no, we're not paying you. So there is a downside to that as well. All right, Steelers have Washington, Buffalo, Cincinnati, Indianapolis, Cleveland. 5 chances left. There have been other teams that started 11-0 and have gotten that first loss, everyone but the New England Patriots of 2007. We had a graphic of when that first loss came. I mean, you never know when the loss is coming. You never know when the graphic is coming either. There it is.
There it is.
There it is. And several teams 13-0. But yeah, that, and you know, those Colts teams that popped up there 2005, 2009, you know, they would go through that annual debate of, do you leave your starters in? Do you go for it? Do you try to finish off the unbeaten record? And Bill Polian, I think, more than Tony Dungy, had the attitude of, we have to get the starters off the field because we don't want to get somebody injured in a meaningless game. But, you know, if you get the 1 seed locked down, and I don't know if the Steelers are going to have to worry about that. They have to keep winning because they've got the Chiefs on their heels. And so the question of, do we rest people, may never come up for the Steelers if the Chiefs keep winning games.
No, you're right. And, you know, and this graphic here is the perfect example of why you can't fall asleep at the wheel. It's not like these undefeated teams are losing to other teams that are, you know, 9-2. Look at it. I mean, it's 7-7. It's 5-8. You know, some 8-5s, a 6-5. So it can happen at any moment. And, you know, I think, like you said, really, all the games could be the loss for Pittsburgh other than that Cincinnati game. Yeah, I understand they're going to be favored in the majority of them. Really, maybe all of them, really. There might not be a game where they're not favored here from here on out. But the Colts, you know, Buffalo, like we talked about, Cleveland, certainly are, you know, at least in the class of Pittsburgh to pull off an upset win, do something like that. Washington will have to play a special type of game, in my opinion, to beat Pittsburgh on Monday. But either way, with their defense, and if Pittsburgh's asleep at the wheel again, we know they can be had that way. So we'll see. You know, last thing I just want to bring up too. We had all those conversations about the prop bets yesterday. I think I won. Just want to rub it in real quick before we go to commercial break. Oh, whoa, okay. We're tied. Oh, and you went with the over on Des Bryant. Man, so there we were. We picked everything, you know, somewhat okay. I went with the under on Des. You went with the over. I win. Booyah.
Okay. Nobody. You know why I didn't bring it up? You know why I didn't bring it up?
Because you
nobody
lost.
Cares. Because nobody cares.
Somebody cares.
Nobody
There's
cares.
a graphic. Look at PointsBet.
Nobody cares.
They're sponsored. We teased it yesterday.
I said it. Hey, Pete's telling me I teased it yesterday. I teased it yesterday so people would care then. Today, nobody cares. So, so we finished the opening segment with a fizzle.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.